The mining industry is an important contributor to regional communities and the national economy. Most mining activity takes place in remote parts of the country, often close to Indigenous communities and on Indigenous land. And over the years, the relationships between these parties have at times been stretched. The Working in Partnership program is a part of the Australian Government's commitment to increase opportunities for Indigenous Australians and to foster a better understanding of the needs and concerns that Indigenous communities face in dealing with the mining industry.
Working in Partnership has been going since 2001 and has a simple primary objective of fostering improved relationships between the mining industry and Indigenous communities, and obviously that implies in areas where mining is prominent around Australia.
In terms of
the Working in Partnership program continues to build long-term relationships between Indigenous communities and the mining industry, with much to learn from both sides. Building and managing these relationships is considered to be an essential part of the industry's business practice, and this offers significant advantages to all concerned. In order to foster improved communication between industry and the Indigenous communities, the Working in Partnership program hosts regional workshops to allow stakeholders to discuss issues of concern in a local environment. This workshop was held in Cobar, which is part of the Murdi Paaki region of Western New South Wales.
The primary aim is to bring groups together to discuss issues of concern and of interest, and to identify ways of working together on a range of fronts that may include education and training or employment objectives, and sometimes business and other economic development opportunities.
This was the uniform that we had made.
The workshops are organised to create a relaxed atmosphere and in a way that ensures all participants are able to express their views, as well as contribute to the overall outcomes.
Because we had in mind that we didn't just want to have an ordinary program.
The organiser's role is merely to direct discussions through relevant subject material towards practical outcomes and, at the same time, keep the discussions focused on key issues.
And the better the Indigenous community and the government can understand those things.
A casual function held on the first night of the two-day workshop and the frequent coffee breaks help to contribute to a friendly and relaxed environment, and this allows the participants to mingle and talk on a personal level. This plays an important role as face-to-face relationships often form the basis for future partnerships.
The main stakeholder groups that we invite who participate in the workshop are the exploration and mining companies that are involved in the regional context, wherever that might be in terms of a main mining province, and of course the Indigenous community representatives, be they traditional owners in their own sense or other community representatives from land councils and the like. In the case of the Cobar Murdi Paaki situation, we have elected community representatives from the various community working parties, and many of them are attending.
Been involved in regional local politics and communities for over 25 years, so enjoy it, and it's a challenge, but I think there's some things we need to address and we need to do to progress it and make it more equitable for our communities.
At the workshops, participants are encouraged to identify their own priorities, analyse the current situation and outline action that could be taken to improve the status of partnerships in their regions.
I think it takes a significant step forward in being able to address or capture some of the priorities that have been identified by communities and been worked up into a situation where they see those as a way forward of addressing some of their social requirements, particularly around addressing unemployment. Mining they're a huge employer in the region, and they can make significant contributions to lower the unemployment rates in Aboriginal communities.
Always coming back to the purpose.
The Working in Partnership workshops provide a unique opportunity that is not otherwise available to mining industry and Aboriginal community stakeholders. In that, it's a chance to open up frank and honest discussions that concern both parties.
Until they're able to settle down.
The workshops also afford another opportunity to invite participants from government and community service providers to engage with potential clients. It enables them to take back to their agencies information that could be useful to manage programs, lead to funding and provide better services for the local communities. At the same time, the service providers are able to share with the Indigenous communities and the mining industry programs and training that have been targeted for regional development.
DEWA has a number of programs that work outside traditional employment. So we've been talking to the mining industry about other types of economic developments, such as small business, contracting, fencing, rehabilitation of mines, regeneration and environmental issues that Aboriginal people can and communities can work together with the mine to service the mine. It could be a dry cleaning business, or it could be a coffee shop, bigger or smaller, some other cultural awareness training and things like that. So it's not just about standard employment within mines, but we'd like to look at, spin-off businesses outside of that as well.
The department is very much focusing on the New South Wales Government's 10-year Aboriginal Affairs plan called 2 Ways Together, which is looking at how to build relationships with communities and build partnerships with government agencies and Aboriginal peak bodies to get better outcomes in Aboriginal affairs.
Most important, they were there as the mentors. The elders were
We
involved.
piloted a program
They
at
were the
Condobolin.
mentors.
It was in partnership with Barrick Gold and with the WCC and Western Institute of TAFE. And what we needed or wanted to do was to put together a program that gave Indigenous people in those areas every opportunity to be able to obtain the benefits of the Lake Cowal development and have every opportunity to be eligible for a mining career.
The whole industry has been really supportive of the Working in Partnership program. It provides a great way to open dialogue and have honest discussions with local Aboriginal communities and government about the issues relating to the mining industry. We've covered a lot of different issues: cultural heritage, cross-cultural awareness, and also employment. And in the Murdi Paaki region, that's one of the main areas that's been identified as something we need to look at.
It's very important that we understand each community and also each culture. We've been working today on discovering those issues those collaborative opportunities that exist for us to come up with some real life solutions to issues impacting not only our Indigenous communities but also on the mining communities or the mining culture as well.
Our council, as the community representative, I guess.
From a local government perspective, the Broken Hill City Council has been looking at options for ways of improving mainstream employment opportunities for Indigenous people in many industries, including the mining industry. And of course, that's very important for the Broken Hill economy.
Workshop material focuses on the idea of building partnerships, including identifying issues and barriers to partnerships, and dovetailing with any initiatives that are already in place in the region. Small group work is an essential element of the workshop program, and this ensures that all participants have an opportunity to contribute to the discussion without being overwhelmed by the larger groups, and at the same time allow a greater number of topics to be discussed.
We need to open that up a bit. We need to make sure that we all understand one another in a partnership. If we don't, it's not even a partnership.
In the smaller discussion groups, participants are given topics of discussion and any points raised were recorded onto Butcher's paper. Representatives from each group then made a presentation to the whole group on the issues raised and outcomes discussed. During the process of identifying and analysing the issues, participants are encouraged to speak openly and honestly about events and incidents that they experienced in the past. This opportunity to have the grievances and suggestions or positive examples heard is extremely important in order to get the issues out in the open. This process ultimately helps bring the group towards agreement and understanding of a wide range of issues.
I think the way we want to progress them is get people together like we're doing at this workshop, actually have a discussion about what the issues are in an honest way, and then find solutions that are going to work for everybody so that everybody benefits. And in this context, for example, employers need workers and people need jobs.
This workshop's really useful because it's been able to, it's brought together mining sector stakeholders, community groups, different government agencies, and also employment and training service providers. And this will really inform how we can go about supporting communities and work with other government agencies.
Main outcomes from the workshop are very much up to the stakeholder participants to decide amongst themselves. We're very conscious of the need that any activity it needs to be driven from within the region according to their priorities and strategies and their needs. And every local situation is different. We find wherever we go in terms of the regional workshops, there's slightly different matters that affect things in the region and sometimes slightly different barriers and impediments to, for example, employment outcomes.
Talk to those people on the ground about what sorts of things are in place.
Through the discussion held over the 2 days of open dialogue, the stakeholder groups became more aware of the difference behind these opinions, and participants were better able to understand the real issues confronting them.
You know, we've got what we're wanting to do is bring mining industry and community together.
It soon became evident that all the different industry, community and agency representatives to form better relationships makes good sense and will provide a range of benefits. This cohesive decision-making allowed for clear and practical solutions to difficult problems.
We've got 3 mines here in Cobar. You've got a situation where there is a shortage of accommodation. You've got people that are flying in and flying out, and you've got people in Cobar that are wanting a job. Why then can't we come to a partnership arrangements here and identify what the mines companies are seeking? We put together a particular training program, we satisfy those particular requirements and turn people out with the skills required to work in the local areas.
I think it's important that we implement and adopt new procedures or new programs so that we develop at all levels in industry, not just on the ground floor, so that long term we have Aboriginal managers and that are not there just because they're Aboriginal, they're there because they're skilled and they've got expertise.
They've got to focus on getting more Aboriginal people from the areas they've got their mines into some sort of mentoring programs, I think, to get that transition from not working to being on a full-time job where they've got to be on time all the time.
I see it as an opportunity to be partners, to be true partners between local communities and the mining industry. I mean, the mining industry is the backbone of many regional areas, including Cobar, including Broken Hill, and potentially other areas in far western New South Wales.
Well, I think this is a step in the right direction, having some sort of arrangement or partnership with industry. I know it's been done in the past and there are some good outcomes, but there's been some trials and errors. But I think we've just got to start off on the right foot, move forward and make sure that both parties are happy with their outcomes.
It was evident that part of the Working in Partnership program's success for the Murdi Paaki region lies in the mining industry working closely with the local Aboriginal communities. Strategies also need to be developed to increase the work opportunities with the mines and jobs created indirectly from the mining industry. The equal participation of industry and Indigenous and government interests highlighted the fact that the partnership approach makes good business sense for all.